The raider's jaws close around the nurse's skull. One puncture. She drops. Behind her, 300 red soldiers pour through the entrance, spraying a chemical that turns the colony's own alarm signal into a weapon. Defenders scatter. Some attack each other. The queen is dead within minutes. In the back of the nursery, a row of sealed cocoons sits untouched. The brood inside can't see, can't hear, can't move. They don't know their mother is dead. They don't know they're being lifted from the wreckage and carried into open air by the jaws of the thing that killed her. One of those pupae will spend 2 years feeding, grooming, and defending the colony that did this. She'll raise their children. She'll kill members of her own species. She'll never know any of it happened. To understand how a stolen pupa becomes a loyal soldier for her own family's killers, you need to go back to the last quiet morning before the raid, and the first scent she learns when she wakes up. Level 1. Born free. You're a pale curl of tissue, sealed inside a cocoon in a quiet nest. Around you, hundreds of your sisters develop in the dark. Nurses brush across your shell, carrying the scent of home, a chemical signature written in hydrocarbons on every surface, every body, every wall. You can't see it, can't smell it, not yet. Your brain hasn't learned the scent of family. That happens later. In the first hours after you hatch, whatever colony you wake up in becomes yours. That gap between birth and bonding is the only vulnerability your species has, and it's the only one that matters. Your colony is peaceful. Formica fusca, timid by nature. Around 2,000 workers, a handful of queens. They forage, they build, they raise brood. Nothing about this nest suggests it's a target, but somewhere in the woods, a scout has already found it. Level 2. The raid. It comes in the late afternoon. A column of red ants pours from the tree line. Hundreds of them, maybe more. They move at 2 to 3 meters per minute, shoulder to shoulder, following a pheromone trail laid by the scout who found your home. They're polyergus Amazon ants. Their jaws are curved like sickles, too specialized to chew food, too narrow to carry leaf matter, built for one thing only. Piercing skulls. Your nest defenders scramble. Sisters twice your age rush toward the entrance, mandibles open, spraying formic acid. It doesn't matter. The raiders hit the entrance, and the colony fractures. Some of them spray chemicals that hijack your family's own alarm system acetates that mimic the scent your sisters use to signal danger. Amplified so violently that defenders panic, scatter, turn on each other. Your mother's alarm pheromone, weaponized against her. The adults fight. The adults die. The adults flee. The raiders don't care about any of them. They want the brood. They want you. A raider's jaws close around your cocoon. You feel the lurch of vibration through the silk. You're lifted, carried through tunnels that smell like smoke and acid, past the body of a nurse who tried to block the corridor. You pass through open air for the first time in your life, cradled in the mandibles of something that just destroyed your family. You sleep through all of it. One study clocked 98 raiders returning from a single assault carrying 97 pupae. Then they went back for more. Your whole family died in an afternoon. You slept through it. Level 3. The propaganda. The weapon isn't strength, it's chemistry. Some slave-making species carry a gland swollen to grotesque proportions, the Dufour's gland, packed with decyl, dodecyl, and tetradecyl acetate. These compounds don't just repel defenders, they impersonate your colony's own alarm signal and turn it up until the message breaks. Defenders don't coordinate, they scatter. Some attack each other. Your colony's communication system, the same pheromone network that organized foraging, nursery shifts, tunnel construction, becomes the thing that destroys them. The defense fails, not because your family is weak, because they've been chemically tricked into terror. In colonies that rely on this weapon, slaves make up 70 to 90% of the population. The whole system runs on stolen labor, and the theft begins with a lie your sister's own bodies can't distinguish from the truth. Your defenders didn't lose a fight. They were tricked into running. Level 4. Raised in captivity. You arrive at a nest that isn't yours. Your cocoon is placed alongside rows of other stolen brood sisters from your colony, others from raids weeks or months earlier. The nurses who tend you are your own species, Formica fusca, but these nurses were themselves kidnapped as pupae seasons ago. They don't know they're slaves. They groom you, feed you, keep you warm, and you develop inside the cocoon, your soft cuticle absorbing the ambient chemistry of this new colony like a sponge. By the time you're ready to emerge, the scent soaking through your shell is the only scent you'll ever recognize as home. You're being built by the colony that murdered yours, and every calorie fueling your growth was gathered by a slave. Level 5. Waking up in hell. Your cocoon splits. Light dim, underground, but light. Your exoskeleton is soft and pale. You're a callow, a fresh hatched adult with legs, eyes, antennae, and a brain that's reaching for the first scent it can find. The queen is near, not your queen. The Polyergus queen, a red giant who killed the original Formica queen years ago and stole her colony's chemical identity to seize the throne. She presses close. Her workers groom you, passing hydrocarbons from their bodies onto yours through mouth-to-mouth feeding, through contact, through the air itself. Your postpharyngeal gland absorbs the colony's chemical profile. Your brain locks onto it. This is home. These are your sisters. That is your queen. The imprinting happens in the first days after emergence, a window so narrow and so absolute that by the time it closes, you can no longer recognize a free-living Formica fusca as your own kind. If one wandered into this nest, you'd attack it. You aren't wearing a disguise. You've been relabeled. Your chemical identity has been overwritten so completely that you're now a different thing than the species you were born as. She is feeding the ant that killed her mother. She doesn't know that. She never will. Level 6. A life of labor. You work. That's all you do now. Your day begins in the nursery. You groom the parasite queen. Her body is larger than yours, glossy red, with mandibles that can't hold food. You feed her mouth to mouth from a pouch in your gut, regurgitating nutrients she'll use to lay eggs that will never share a single gene with you. You tend the brood parasite larvae, pale and soft, each one a future raider or queen. You clean them, feed them, rotate them for warmth. You are a nurse to the children of your captor. Later, as you age, the colony pushes you outward. You forage. You leave the nest, navigate terrain where every grass stem towers above you, haul food back to a colony where 300 idle soldiers sit waiting to be fed. They can't feed themselves. Their sickle jaws can pierce an enemy's skull, but can't pick up a seed. If you and every other slave died tonight, those soldiers would starve in a nest surrounded by food. You carry a fragment of insect carcass 3 times your body weight across ground that might as well be a desert. Your legs ache. You don't stop. You've never stopped. And when the colony moves, when conditions shift and the queen needs a new nest, you carry them. Literally, you pick up a folded Polyergus soldier in your jaws and walk her to the new site like luggage. The queen rides too. You are the transport, the muscle, and the engine of a colony that contributes nothing to its own survival except violence. 2 to 5 masters. Up to 60 slaves. The slaves do everything. Every meal you gather, every larva you raise, every tunnel you dig it, benefits a colony you have 0 genetic stake in. You aren't allowed to reproduce. Not here. Not in this body. Level 7. Fighting for your captors. The column forms. You feel the pheromone signal the same chemical language your brain locked onto when you hatched. It says, move. It says, attack. You fall in line. You're marching on a Formica fusca nest, your own species. Free living, the kind of colony you were born in, the kind your mother built before the raid took you. Nurses tend brood in the dark. Workers carry food through clean tunnels. It looks like the home you never got to know. The column hits the entrance. You charge. Your mandibles close around a defender. She's the same size as you. Same dull black exoskeleton. Same silky sheen. She could be your sister. A daughter of the queen whose skull was cracked open the afternoon you were taken. You don't recognize her. You can't. Your chemistry won't let you. You tear into her with the same ferocity the Polyergus soldiers used on your family. You're not just obedient. You're radicalized. The timid species you were born as Formica fusca, mild by nature, skittish, non-aggressive, doesn't exist inside you anymore. Enslavement didn't just reprogram your loyalty. It rewired your behavior. You fight harder than free-living fusca. You kill faster. A sister ahead of you falls. She doesn't get up. The column doesn't slow down. Neither do you. You carry a stolen pupa back to the nest in your jaws, a baby torn from the same kind of colony you were torn from. It will wake up beside you. It will imprint on the same scent. It will work and fight and never know. You are drafted into a war against your own blood. And you volunteered. Level 8. The Rebellion. Something shifts. You tend the brood the way you always have. You groom the parasite larvae, feed them, rotate them. They pupate, seal themselves inside cocoons. Soft and pale and helpless. The same stage you were in when you were stolen. And then, you do something no one ordered. You stop feeding the pupa. You drag it from the warm center of the brood pile to the cold edge of the chamber. It weakens. Another slave joins you. Together you pull the cocoon open and tear the developing body apart at the thorax. You don't eat it, you don't move it. You leave the pieces where they fall. This isn't a malfunction. This isn't random. Across studied colonies, enslaved temnothorax longispinosus workers killed 66% of their parasites' pupae before emergence. They targeted queens, 83% of future queens were destroyed. Males, who don't raid, were mostly left alive. Only 3% died. 30% of killings were direct torn apart. 53% were killed by neglect, dragged from warmth, left to rot. In unparasitized colonies of the same species, pupal mortality sits at 3 to 10%. This is selective. This is deliberate. No parasite worker was ever observed killing its own brood. Every death was carried out by a slave. You raised the baby with care for weeks. You fed it, cleaned it, kept it warm through every larval stage. The moment it pupated and became vulnerable, you executed it. You didn't hesitate. Here's what makes it worse. You can't reproduce. You're sterile. Killing these pupae doesn't help you. It can never help you. But fewer surviving parasite queens means weaker slave-maker colonies. Weaker colonies mount fewer raids. Fewer raids means the free-living nests nearby colonies full of your genetic relatives, sisters and nieces you'll never meet get to live. You're protecting a family you don't remember and a nest you'll never see through an act of sabotage no one taught you. The only family you can save are strangers you'll never meet. Level 9. Replaced? You work for another season, maybe 2. Your exoskeleton dulls. Your legs slow. A foraging run takes longer than it used to. One day you leave the nest and you don't come back. A spider. A rainstorm. Exhaustion, it doesn't matter which. You lived 1 to 2 years. The queen you served will live 10 to 15. She isn't your mother. She never was. Every egg she lays continues a genetic line you have no part in. Every worker that hatches from those eggs will be fed by a new generation of slaves, stolen from the same kind of colony you were stolen from, raised the same way, imprinted the same way, worked until they break the same way. The colony raids again that summer. They always do a 6 to 8 week window, every year, for the entire lifespan of the colony. Your replacement is already in a cocoon, sealed in the dark, absorbing the scent of a home that isn't hers. No one in the colony notices you're gone. You were stolen before you had eyes, raised by the colony that murdered your mother. You fed their queen, nursed their young, fought their wars, killed your own kind. And in the dark, when no one was looking, you tore their children apart not for yourself, but for a family you couldn't remember. You were stolen to work, and replaced the day you died. The cruelest cage isn't the one you can see, it's the one built into your own mind before you were old enough to know it was there. And the only dignity left is the kind no one witnesses a single act of sabotage, in the dark, for someone who'll never know your name.